Welcome, everyone. Thanks for attending. I'm excited to meet you and say hello and talk with you about your upcoming academic pursuits in your very first semesters for most of you at Cal State Fullerton. So we are in the Modern Languages and Literatures Advising. So if that's not where you mean to be, somehow you joined us, you're welcome to stay. But if it's not where you intended to be, then perhaps you could skedaddle. But in any case, I'm hoping to be able to accommodate everybody attending today. So let's get on with the show. I'd like to introduce the faculty member and colleague joining me, Dr. Doctora Reyes Fidalgo, who is an outstanding colleague and an outstanding friend. She's waving in my upper left corner. I don't know where she appears in your respective Zoom screens, but Reyes is the program coordinator for the Spanish program, which handles the Spanish major, the Spanish minor, the Spanish master's degree, and a number of certificate programs. And prior to being the program coordinator, Reyes was our department chair. And Reyes, when on campus, when we're back on campus, is on the 8th floor of Humanities. Her office number is here on the screen, 810C, and the email here as well, rfidalgo@fullerton.edu. Just a tip for all new students, the faculty and staff email addresses uniformly end in @fullerton.edu. And typically, not always, but typically it's the first initial of the first name and then the last name. There are some exceptions to that, but that's typically how you will reach a faculty member or a staff member on our campus. It's a bit different from your student email addresses, which have CSU.Fullerton.edu. So I'm James Cesar, and I'm also in the Spanish program. I'm a professor of Spanish and Portuguese, and currently about to serve my 6th and final year as chair of the Department of Modern Languages and Literatures. You can also find me on the 8th floor of Humanities as of August 2nd. I was hoping it was going to be July 1st, but we got bumped back yet another month. But in any case, I am always available to you via email, jhasar@fullerton.edu. And 835C is my office address, the physical office, and that is right next to our departmental office on the 8th floor. I'm hoping that I get a chance to meet many, if not all of you in person at some point soon, perhaps even as early as fall. One of my favorite parts about being department chair is getting to meet all the incoming students. Under normal circumstances, meaning not pandemic circumstances, we'd be doing this on campus and meeting right across from my office. But unfortunately, as you know, the situation is other right now. In terms of placement, you're probably wondering, okay, I'm coming in my first semester ever, what classes should I be taking, right? I know this is on everyone's minds right now because my younger son is also going to be in his first semester at Cal State Fullerton next academic year in the fall. And I just spent an hour with him trying to figure out his classes and get them in his shopping cart for when his registration window opens. So I know how frustrating it is from a firsthand perspective. In order to determine where you would be starting, what's your best starting point within a language program, we look at your current proficiency in the language and any prior experience that you've had in the language. Prior experience could include things like coursework that you did at high school or perhaps community college if you're a transfer student. It could include AP test scores, and it would also include whether you are a heritage or native speaker of that language or if you're a non-native learner. So we have different tracks in several of our programs depending on what type of learner you are. So Reyes would be our native speaker track, and I would be the non-native speaker track in the languages that we teach. To give you a sense, kind of a horseshoe of this, 1 year of high school work is typically the equivalent of 1 semester at Cal State Fullerton, and 1 semester at a community college generally equates to 1 semester at Cal State Fullerton. And as an incoming student, it's possible that you would be placed in lower division or upper division courses, and I'll explain what that means and how you identify what type of course is which in a moment here. So Lower division courses are courses that are numbered in the 100s and 200s. For example, our Spanish 101 or French 204. Those are lower division courses, and they're considered prerequisite courses within our language programs. In other words, if you need that language training, those courses will count towards your overall units necessary to graduate, but they won't fulfill specific requirements in the major or minor programs because they consist of upper division courses. Some of our students pass go and don't take any lower division with us. Others begin at the very first step with 101. It all depends on your experience in prior coursework, etc. And that's part of our job today. Reis and I will be working with you to figure out where you should start your majors. Upper division courses are those numbered in the 300s and 400s. For example, Japanese 307, Spanish 440, etc. And these are the courses that more likely than not will be fulfilling requirements, specific requirements for your majors or your minors or your concentrations and certificates in our department. And that's typically how it goes in other departments as well. Now, there are a few exceptions. There are some courses that are in the upper division in MLL that don't fulfill specific degree requirements or count toward the major, but those are few and far between. The one that is very popular that we have right now that enrolls many students but doesn't count for a specific major or minor requirement is our Japanese anime course, Japanese 390. But as I mentioned, most of them will count and they'll be on your study plans for your majors and minors. We also offer other languages that don't lead to degrees but can provide you language instruction if you're interested. We offer Arabic, German, Italian, Korean, Persian, and Portuguese. In most cases, a 2-course sequence of those. So say a 101 and a 102. And I have here examples of placement. So many of you are incoming Spanish students. And so you can get a sense of where you would fall in terms of your beginning course based on the information at this link. And I have that link actually open in a different tab, excuse me, that I'll share with you when we do the Spanish advising for those of you who are going to be Spanish students. So you can get a sense of where you would start in the program. So some important steps that you'll all want to do as you go through your careers here at Cal State Fullerton are consulting regularly with an advisor. It's imperative to do that every semester. I always recommend before you register for classes, talk with an advisor to make sure that you're choosing the correct ones. Initially, you need to consult with the advisor in our department to determine what your placement is, what's your step one, what's your starting point, right? But then in subsequent semesters, you're going to want to consult with your advisors to make sure that you're choosing the right courses to make progress towards your degree objective. And at those early stages of your careers, you'll be developing what's called a study plan. In other words, a roadmap that will take you from first year, first semester, all the way through final semester in your 4th or 5th or 6th year, however long you plan on being around. In terms of advising over the summer, if you are a French student and you need French specific advising, our French coordinator will be able to help. Her name is Fanny Dalbigny, and here's her email, fdalbigny@fullerton.edu. If you are a Japanese student, you would be consulting with our Japanese coordinator, Dr. Kazuha Watanabe, and here you have her email, kwatanabe@fullerton.edu. In Spanish, which is our largest program, we have multiple advisors. So we have Reis Fidalgo, who's here with us today. We have also Dr. Emily Kuffner, whose email is here and listed. She's not with us today in this session, but she's available to you via email. And then for any program advising, I'm the backstop for that. You can contact me at my email address here, and I'll do my best to help you as well. And in terms of contacting our office for any needs or questions that you have, our office is on the 8th floor again, 835A of Humanities Building. And the office hours, even during the pandemic telecommuting, schedule are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m., 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Our office extension is getting passed through to one of our staff persons. So Victoria Petrillo is our front desk staff, and she's doing the front desk from home right now. And so if you call that number, and as long as the line is not busy when you call, you'll get Victoria there at 278-3534. And Victoria is also monitoring our departmental email, modlanglit@fullerton.edu. We do have a web page that you see here, and there is an academic advising page where you can see a list of all of our advisors by program. And that may be helpful in subsequent semesters when you're coming for major advising and trying to set up an appointment to meet with someone. Now, in terms of those of you who are getting ready to register, if you are a French major, prospective French major, we have a number of not undergraduate, because they're all undergraduate, lower division courses available in the fall, 101, 102, and 203. And if you're coming to us ready to start at upper division, the courses on the fall schedule are 300, 315, and 375. So if we do have French students here with us today, I'm more likely than not to be meeting with you momentarily here in the individual advising sessions, and I'll be able to help place you in the proper courses in French. In Japanese, we have a wide array of classes going on in the fall, depending on your proficiency level and experience. We have 101, 102, 203, 204, 213, 214 at the lower division, and at upper division, we have 307, 310, 315, and 316 all available in the fall. And finally, for Spanish, we have much the same lower division offerings as Japanese, right? 101, 102, 202 is for Spanish speakers specifically, 203, 204, 213 is a conversation course that is for non-native learners, and then 214. And if you're ready to join us in the upper division classes as incoming students, our upper division offerings for the fall are 301, 315, and 316. I know this is a lot of numbers, but as we break down the individual advising, we'll do our best to make this all clear to you. So don't worry about capturing all this information right now. This is just a means to illustrate to you that, yes, we have classes available to you, and you'll be able to register for them for some of these as soon as your registration window is open. And the last thing I want to share with you before we have our conversations here is about getting involved on campus. It's important to sort of get a sense of community, particularly as new students, and particularly after the year and a half that we all just experienced. So many of our programs have student clubs, student associations, student organizations affiliated with the programs. So in Spanish, we have the Asociación de Alumnos y Exalumnos de Español, or the Student Spanish Club. We also have a Latin American Studies Student Association. Latin American Studies isn't part of Modern Languages, but one of our modern language faculty is the coordinator of that program. We have an Association of Chinese Studies. We have a French club. We have an Iranian Student Association, which is affiliated with our Persian courses. We have a Japanese Culture Club and Anime Club. And lastly, the Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, or TESOL program, has a research group. So those are all organizations affiliated in one way or another with our department. And I think that concludes the PowerPoint.